Okay, chapter 1.4 notes says graph the whole numbers 0, 1, 4, and 7. And what we do is we graph it on what's called a number line, and 0 on the number line is called the origin. Now, 0 obviously is right here at the very beginning. On the line at 0 we put a dot. Again, for 1, on the line we put a dot. We don't put it above, we don't put it below. It has to go on the line. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, we graph that by putting the dot on the line. And then that's 5, 6, 7 for our last point. Now with the next one, graph the number 24. So at 24 I put a dot. Now we want to look, is it closer to 20 or is it closer to 30? Well, obviously it is closer to 20. Now, when we round 24 to either 20 or 30, what we're doing is called rounding. Now the proper steps are, if I wanted to round 24 to the nearest 10, what I do is I write 24, I underline my tens place, and I put an arrow at the next number to the right. If this is 5 or higher, we round and add a +1 to the 2. If not, we write the 2 and we change the 4 to a 0. Okay? Now we're going to do that same thing with 4,726. So 4, 7, 2, 6. Tens place, so we underline the tens place. This time 6 is 5 or higher, so we're going to knock it off. We're going to add 1 to the 3, or to the 2, make it 3. So 4, 7, 3, and then replace the 6 with a 0. Now, round to the nearest hundred. So 4, 7, 2, 6. The 7 happens to be in the hundreds place. So we write 4, and we wait a minute. Look at the next number to the right. Is it 5 or bigger? The answer is no. So we're going to knock those two off, and we're not going to add anything to that 7. So plus a 0. So 7, and then replace 2, 6 with 0, 0. And then for rounding to the nearest thousand, we say 4, 7, 2, 6. And we underline the 4 because it's in thousands place. Arrow to the next one to the right, which is a 7. Is 7 5 or bigger? Yes, it is. So I'm going to knock all 3 of those off, and I'm going to add 1 to my 4. So 4,726 is closer to 5,000 than it is to 4,000. And again, think of your number line. Okay? If this is 4,000 and this is 5,000, smack in the middle is 4,500. And as you can see, this is right in the middle between 4,500 and 5,000. So if I look at the distance between here and here, and the distance between here and here, this is a smaller distance. So it's closer to 5,000 than it is to 4,000. That's why we replace the 7, 2, and 6 with zeros. Now, where is a real-life application of this kind of rounding? Well, one of those is when you're shopping and you're trying to keep a running total in your head. You're not going to keep that total to the nearest penny. You're going to keep it to the nearest dollar. or maybe even to the nearest 50 cents. And another place is in money. Okay, let's say I had, once they added interest, there was $10 and 5, 2, 4, 6, 7. That's how much they calculated that should be added into my savings account. Well, money is only done to 2 decimal places. So when they're looking at this, they're going to completely knock that off. And 4 is smaller than 5, so they're going to actually put 52 cents into our account. And then they're not going to deal with those other digits. And I know that decimals aren't until chapter 5, so you've learned something a little bit early. Now, here's some more practice. Estimate the sum and difference below by rounding each number to the nearest 100 first. Well, the nearest 100 is the 3rd decimal place. And remember, I told you that place value is very important and it's not going away. So you have to learn it now. So 294 is closer to 300. 625 is closer to 600. Ooh, okay. Is $1,071 or 1,071, is it closer to 1,000 or 1,100? Well, the next digit to the right is a 7, so I'm going to have to add 1 to this 0, so that makes it 11 and then 0, 0. And then 349, this is smaller than 5, so this is closer to 300. Not by much, but it's still closer to 300. Then 0, 0, 3, 9, 10, 13, carry 1, and that gives us 2,300. And if you add the exact values, it'll come up pretty close to 2,300. Now, on the second one, it says, again, round to the nearest 100 first. So that gives us 4,700 minus 2,900, because 6 is bigger than 5. So then 0, 0, whoops, we got to steal again. So everything you learned in 1.3, you've got to apply here. That's something about math. You cannot throw away what you learned previously. So now 17 minus 9 leaves us an 8, and 3 minus 2 gives us 1. Now, note here, sometimes if you do the exact first, the answer will be wrong, because the directions say to round first. Look at E, okay, right here. If you subtract the exact amount, you get 1856, and when you round 1856, that rounds to 1900. But we didn't get 1900. So you have to follow the directions that you're given. Now, I want you to look at your book on page 34, and I want you to notice example 6. And there's a problem that occurs a lot of times, and I'm going to show you what that problem is. It says round each distance given on the map to the nearest to estimate the distance from Temple to Brenham. And I'm not worried about the estimation. What I'm worried about is Temple is here, Brenham is here. How many numbers are used in between? There are 4 of them. A lot of times people will add the first one and the last one, but it doesn't say what's the partial distance? The whole distance is adding all four of those numbers. Be careful about that problem.